Hey people, so it's time to drop in. I hope you're all having a great day. If not, hope it gets better. Then we're going to be checking out some entitled parents. Without further ado, let's drop in. This one is right here is about judo, which doesn't even involve kicking. So I don't know what they're on about.
Entitled Mother Demands I Remove My Knee Brace so her daughter can have a fair fight. This story is fresh, so enjoy. Tam, a martial artist and have been training in my specific discipline for almost 12 years now. In my region, we have a group that organizes events between dojos and cities. The most popular are tournaments. Before COVID, we used to have almost monthly tournaments in different cities. They weren't mandatory, but a lot of people still came because almost everyone is a good sport. Notice how I said almost everyone. Since tournaments have started up again, with a lot of restrictions for health reasons, my dojo has been pretty happy. Those of us who can go, take time to commute. The last tournament I was at was a day ago and we were in a city that was about a 2-hour drive away from my hometown. Everything was going smoothly until I went into the change room to change into my gi. There was a mother there with her daughter who looked around my age. Why the mom was there was beyond me, but I didn't pay them any mind and went to a corner to change. Had half of my uniform on during the drive there, but I still needed to put my top on and my knee brace. When I was rolling up my pants to pull it on, the mother was giving me this nasty look. She quickly pulled the daughter out of the locker room. Just before I pulled on my belt, my senior instructor told me I needed to see the head black belts immediately. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Cast entitled mother, M, entitled girl, egg, my instructor, me, head black belt, HB, me, is everything alright? HB, this woman and her daughter say that you have illegal gear. Could we please see it? Me, baffled, of course, I left my gear bag in the change room though. I can run and grab it if you want. Oh no you don't. Everyone in the small group turned to her. She put the gear on while my daughter and I were in the change room. Me, are you sure it was up? I've been training her for years. She bought her all her gear at my dojo and we don't have anything illegal. Egg, she was putting gear on her knee. I saw her. Me, do you mean my knee brace? Me, she needs that. HB, I was notified about that knee brace. It's perfectly legal for Op to wear it. She needs it if she wants to compete safely. No, it's illegal. My daughter has to fight someone with reinforced knees. How is that fair? HB, why is your daughter aiming for the knees? Me, not to mention, Op and your daughter wouldn't spar each other. They're in completely different belt rank divisions. Egg, why does she even need it? She can walk just fine. Me, if you have to know, I've had knee problems for years. Lust, ask anyone from my dojo. I got into an accident a while back and it just made things worse. I did physio and now I can walk properly, but my knee could give out if I'm not careful. Still, my daughter will be competing for grand champion. Me, how? Your daughter's an orange belt. She's not going to be allowed to compete. It's a black belt division. But HB, that's enough. Op is competing, but if you don't stop pressing this issue, Egg won't. HB turns to me, go get the rest of your gi on. Good luck in competing. Me, thank you, Mr. HB. The girl got to compete and lost while I did the exact same thing. Still, the person who won deserved that gold. Anyway, this isn't as bad as the many stories I've read on this subreddit, but I thought I'd share this woman's audacity.
So you all know you can only use a knee brace if your leg is broken and every time you move it, you scream from pain. So this is a knee brace. It's not cast or anything. It's not like it's steel encasing or brass knuckles in which to destroy your opponent with metal. So he's kind of stupid. On top of that, she's making a fuss about her child when they're not. It has nothing to do with her child. The fuss isn't even existent. Shouldn't be existent.
Parents told me that spending long amounts of time with any of their adult children is bad for their marriage. This is not an extremely egregious story, but I have to rant. Not looking for solutions, it is what it is. 26M, was recently told by my parents, late 50s, that I wouldn't be able to live with them for more than a night, even if I lost my job, because it's bad for their marriage. My sister, 29F, has a chronic illness that forces her to visit my parents for about 1 week at a time to see a specialist in her home city. My parents told me that even my sister spending a week with them is bad for their marriage and they have to put an end to it. This whole conversation started because there might be a lapse in my lease, and I might not have a place to live for a few weeks in June. I own a travel trailer, so they said I could live in that at a campground before my new lease starts. I was shocked that even if push came to shove, I wouldn't be able to land at their place for a short while. 2 years ago when COVID hit, my girlfriend 24F and I were displaced. We crashed at a friend's place for 2 months because my parents, who literally own 2 houses, wouldn't allow us to stay at either. My mom told me then, we would always let you stay with us, but we just can't house your partner as well. She's a taker, okay, whatever. My mom was newly sober, so I didn't think much of it. Well, 2 years later, here we are, and I am in fact not allowed to stay with them. I quoted my mom back to her. She called me manipulative, my dad shouted at me, and they both told me a lot has changed in the last 2 years. We are doing a lot better and living with you is bad for our marriage. We can't live with you at all anymore unless you become very sick or in severe debt. Well, guess they're going straight to the nursing home if they live long enough. More context: my mom is an alcoholic, who has been sober for 2.5 years. My parents have seen the same therapist since, which seems fishy. Mother went from aggressively pushing antidepressants and anxiolytics on the whole family for years, to staunchly hating all drugs. End rant. Shit like this makes me so grateful for the family I'm building with my girlfriend. No plans on having kids though.
So these people must live in the most remote ghost town with nothing but tumbleweeds to keep them company. Honestly, I think the reason being with people is bad for their marriage is because it's bad with them because they have terrible people skills and zero sympathy. And yes, how dare you quote what I said? That's manipulation because you're saying what I said, and I am a dumbass.
I met my dad for the first time and he was an FM, so for my 14th birthday my grandmother told me to dress nice because we were going to dinner. I was okay with this because I was the cook in the family and I didn't want to cook that night, so I put on a long red dress and a pair of heeled boots. This part's important later. We left for the place. My grandmother didn't go because she wasn't wanting to leave home that day, and when we arrived, instead of going straight inside, my grandpa told me to wait by the car. Being curious, I agree, and he walked off, leaving me standing by the truck curious as to what was gonna happen. Soon enough he comes back, but with a man I've never seen before behind him who introduced himself as my dad. I was having mixed feelings, but when he tried to hug me I pushed him back, to which my grandpa had to inform him that contact with people causes me anxiety. But my dad wouldn't listen and he hugged me anyway, which sent me into a frenzy of hard to breathe. But once I had calmed myself we went inside. When we got there he was going to pay, but he said he left his wallet, and I learned so did my dad, so I ended up paying with money I made from digital design work. First red flag: when we got sat down, here came 4 other people who also turned out to be his kids, so I figured we all didn't know him and was preparing to hear lots of questions. But the entire dinner my dad had ignored me and spoke to the others as if he knew them. When it was time to leave he stopped me and had asked if I wanted to say hello to my brothers and sisters, as I hadn't talked the entire time. I informed him I was uncomfortable with all of them as they were strangers to me, and that is rather not spend much more of my time on something that was going to make me uncomfortable. To which he proceeded to go off. He called me names, told I looked like a whore and I was selfish because his son was turning 20 in 2 days, before telling me I'd never hear from him again. I'm a fatherless person, but I think I'd rather not know him.
This Joker really barely talks to you and ignores you, and then calls you the selfish one when you don't want to hang out with complete strangers that just dropped into your life. Yeah, I love how this guy's expecting that when his son turns 20, he's just never gonna talk to him again. I mean, at that point, you have to do some self-reflection and figure out why. Joker must think he's the center of the earth. And of course, we all know, because of the biological relationship between parent and child, the child must bow down to the parent, do whatever they want, no matter how outlandish the shit. Alright, well, that's been good enough for the video. Hope you guys have a great day, everyone. It's Sumzy, jumping out.